Okay, so this is the second part of the recording. I realized for those of you that joined me on Saturday that the second half did not record. So I'm re-recording this. So if it sounds a little bit different than what you heard on Saturday, that's because it is a little different. So this second half is to talk about the program structure and the dissertation. So your doctoral career, if you are in either the distributed or the residential now, is a cohort-based model. That means you are going to take your courses with your peers every semester. It's in a planned fashion. Other than your electives, topics courses, and your one research elective for advanced research, you will take all of the same classes at the same time. You are going to have your associate graduate faculty member who's going to help you in terms of supporting you with all of this. If there are any deviations, they will have to be approved by your AGF, your major professor, and myself. It is a 60 to 69 credit hour program. When I went through mine at Indiana, it was a minimum of 90 hours. I think I went up to 112 or so. Apparently you can do a second PhD for 39 hours, but that would have to be residential after you finish this one. With the dissertation, as opposed to what I experienced in my own once upon a time, where my first one, I had to sit and write on 3 topics for 6 hours. The second time that I went through this, we had 2.5 weeks to effectively write 3 full articles. We don't do that. You will have a portfolio where throughout the whole of your program, you are going to be collecting artifacts of writing that you do in your courses, articles that you submit for publication, presentations that you do at national and international conferences, with a minimum of 2 that need to be at big conferences, and creative works or other types of work that show applied types of work from your courses. Could be the development of websites, it could be a technology development, it could be process and procedure manuals. Lots of different things can go in that spot. The other thing you have is 2 different types of dissertation that you can do, either the traditional 5-chapter format, or you can do the manuscript style, where you are going to submit at least one of the articles that you produce, and you'll have 3 different articles that come out of this. The benefit to that is it makes it an easier transition if you're going to be an academic to getting those things published, because they're already in that format. You'll want to discuss which version you want to do with your major professor, your AGF, very early, because if you choose to do the manuscript style dissertation, you want to start working on those publications in year 1. Now, again, that residential, historically, we've done the traditional format. So those of you who are in the residential, you will be coming to class face-to-face. Will all of the classes be face-to-face? No. We tend to do more of a blended approach. So the majority will be face-to-face, but you will have some instances where you will be fully online with your professor. In the residential, you have more flexibility in the electives. With the distributed, you have less flexibility with the electives. Now, many students will opt to do 9 hours per semester. That can help you get moving through this a little bit more quickly. That's faster than the distributed, so that's one of the benefits to the residential. You can also do a minor, which of course makes it longer, but if you wanted a minor in business or educational research or College of Visual Arts and Design, some other area, you can do that with the residential. You are not allowed to minor in the distributed. Again, with the distributed, all the courses are delivered completely online. There, you're going to take 6 hours in the fall, spring, and summer for your first 2 years. At the end of your 3rd year, you will finish coursework in the spring and move into dissertation in the fall. Residential, you can go very quickly if you choose to. If the courses are available to you, you can be done as little as 3 years. although many of our students finish 5+ because they may take fewer classes. So there is more flexibility in the residential. The distributed, you are supposed to stay approximately along with all of your other cohort students so you can support each other through the program. It does not matter if you're in the residential or the distributed, you need to attend the fall meeting. That will be here in Denton, Texas, at the University of North Texas at the University Union in September. You are allowed to switch between residential or distributed one time in your career. So the program of studies and coursework is very, very organized, going from beginning to end, year 1 through 3. You're going to follow your fixed plan. You're getting all of the aspects that you need for your portfolio together. We're not going to approve a lot of deviations. You have flexibility in your electives, including your research elective. So that gives you 6 places where you have flexibility. Every other course must be taken in order. The dissertation stage, once you finish the coursework, is going to be different. It is largely self-directed. You work primarily with your major professor, with the support of your AGF, to do your dissertation, because the goal is to show that you can largely do independent research, self-directed, with support. And then once you're done, that shows that you are ready to go out in the world and be a researcher. That's how this is structured. You have to have 12 dissertation hours at a minimum, although many students do more than that. If you're in the distributed or the residential cohort model, where you're doing 6 hours per long semester and 6 in the summer, in the fall, you will all take LTEC 6000 and LTEC 6500. In the spring, you will all take LTEC 6010 and 6510. You're coming into the summer, you are doing your topics courses, your electives, and you get to choose which ones you want to take, although we cannot guarantee that all of them will make. You have to have a minimum of 10 students in a class for that to make, and I believe it might be 12 in the summer. So it's important for you to talk to the folks in your cohort to figure out which courses you're all going to take so that you can make sure that you are in something that will be available to you. Year 2, LTEC 6020 and LTEC 6511. And then in the spring, you'll choose another elective and take LTEC 6512, which is the qualitative research class. In the summer, again, your last 2 topics for year 2. And then when you move into year 3 in the fall, everyone takes LTEC 6030, and then you have your choice of advanced research elective. That'll be LTEC 6514, which is focused on learning analytics, 6516, which is scaling methods, which is an advanced quantitative, as is 6514. LTEC 6516 is the advanced qualitative course. It'll be listed as computer-mediated discourse analysis, although you will probably learn other methods as well. And then 6280, which is program evaluation, which is often more qualitative, but also has some quantitative aspects. In the spring of year 3, everyone takes 6040, and then LTEC 6480, which is the dissertation preparation course. In this class, we will help you get prepared to defend your portfolio at the beginning. You will write drafts of your first 3 chapters of your dissertation to share with your dissertation chair so that you are ready to do something by the time you're done with this and are able to hopefully have a defense in the fall so that you can finish up your dissertation in the spring of year 4. Now, you do not have to take 6 hours per semester. If, let's say, you're paying as you go and you don't want to take 6 hours and you think it's going to take you maybe a year and a half or 2 years to get done, you can take 3 hours instead. If you need to do financial aid, you'll need to check with that office to see if you have to take a minimum of 6 hours, which I believe is what it was when I went through. Now, if you're in the residential and you are wanting to go through 9 hours at a time in the long semesters, you would take 6,000, 6,500, topic 1 elective, 60/10, 65/10, topic selective. It's going to be approximately the same order of courses because this is a scope and sequence where everything builds from one to the next to the next. So you do want to try to take them approximately in order. You don't want to take, say, 65/11 before you had taken 65/10 because you won't necessarily have the knowledge and skills needed for the next class. 60/10, 60/20, 60/30, 60/40, those matter less, the order that you take them in, but everyone should be taking 6,000 in their first semester. If you are going to take 5 years to do this, you can just take 6 hours per long semester and not take summers. This is another option that you can take in the residential, but not the distributed. And then the degree plan that you will do that goes along with this, there's a new one that we will be getting up on the site shortly. You need to have this done in the fall. It's a plan. It is not a commitment that these have to be done in exactly the topics that you're going to take. These are the ones you want to take. This is what you intend to take. But you can always do a degree plan change later if something doesn't make. But this is your plan. This is your guide. So you want to get that done as early as possible so you know where you're going. Beyond the complete contact information that you need in there, you're going to need a 3-person committee to sign off on this. So you'll want to work with your major professor and your AGF this fall to make sure you have a 3rd member if you don't already. And for the topics, you need to list what you intend to take. Doesn't matter if it makes or not, this is what you intend to take. We can fix that later with degree plan changes. You'll note that there are some things on the degree plan you cannot change. That's because you need to take those things in that order. If you're going to take a minor as a residential student, you have to have a minor member from the department that's providing that coursework. If you need to do a degree plan change, you need to use the proper form, which is on important forms under current students. This is going to be if you have a change of committee member or if you changed topics courses. However, if you take things out of order for whatever reason, but you still take the same classes, you do not need to do a degree plan form. This is only if you take a different course. If you do a degree plan change, it needs to be signed by your major professor and sent to LT PhD and to Lily Sloan. It'll be reviewed. Because at the end of all of this, the courses that you took have to match what the graduate school has on file. It's best if every time you have a deviation in classes that you intended to take from your degree plan, that you send the degree plan change form then, so you don't forget. We've had a lot of students get to the end and didn't realize that they had submitted the degree plan change forms for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden they had 5 or 6 courses that didn't match up, and the graduate school was holding them up on doing their portfolio defense, for example. Make sure that you're staying on top of it so you don't have any challenges later. If a topics class or an advanced research class doesn't make, first step, talk to your AGF. And if you are intending to do a particular research methodology and it will impact them and their ability to do it, talk to your AGF about what the recommendations are. What else can you take, or can you take it at a different time and swap something else in for now? We can figure that out. Sometimes we can do independent studies on a research methodology if that's needed. You can change the order in which you take your topics courses with no problem. You don't have to put any degree plan changes in. If you have to do 6,900 is the number, which we call special problems. Many of you who come from elsewhere would call this an independent study. You need to first get approval from the professor that they're willing to work with you on it. So let's say there's a topic that's not being offered at all because maybe the professor is on leave and you need to learn this topic or this research methodology, a different professor may know it and be willing to do an independent study with you. And that can replace a topics course, but you can only do that for 3. So if you plan to do that, check with your AGF, your major professor, and talk to the PhD director, because sometimes we'll know stuff that, you know, you're not really thinking through that can cause some problems later. So it's good to get as many views on these things as possible. Now, as you go through the program of studies, there are a bunch of scholarships and awards offered. Some of these are also available during the dissertation. Make sure that you go and do some research on these. I believe that for the fall of 2024, that the requests for applications for the scholarship and awards will start later this fall for awarding in the spring, and then they would be implemented in the fall. So we're past that deadline now. Those have already been awarded. But for next year, you need to pay attention to when that message goes out so you know what's going on. And there are research assistant, graduate assistant, teaching fellow positions as well. Those are all competitive and you need to apply for those. So please attend to that information so you can get financial aid through the department, through the college that is available. Now, the Texas residency requirement is a thing that can be challenging. In order to meet the residency requirement, because this is not a fully online program, is a thing that many people misunderstand. The reason we don't call it the online doctorate, it is not an online doctorate, called the distributed doctorate, because there's a short required annual residential component where you need to come to Denton or wherever we're meeting to meet the Texas residency requirement, in addition to taking all of your classes. You must come to this. This year in September, it'll be Sunday afternoon or Thursday to Sunday afternoon. Again, locations may vary. In the past, we've had it all over the country, moving in accordance with conferences. However, I think we are probably going to stop doing that and starting this fall, just regularly have it here in Denton. So to preview the doctoral meeting, it's no longer tentatively scheduled, it is actually scheduled for September 21st to the 24th. It'll take place at the UNT Union here in Denton, Texas, except for Thursday. Thursday will take place at Discovery Park, which is where the Department of Learning and Technologies is housed. It's about 6 miles from main campus to the north. It's quick and easy to get to. Starts around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. We'll have a check into the fall meeting. You'll meet with AGFs and major professors as you can to just say hello and introduce yourselves, because we've never met you before face to face. So this is how we get to know you. There's also going to be an alumni and student networking reception, and I know that it'll be dinner, but I think it'll be hors d'oeuvres. And then on Friday is the first big day. So this is going to be an all-day thing starting early, around 7:30. We'll have breakfast for you. We're going to make introductions, get to know everybody, reconnect, because this will be the first fall meeting that we will have had since COVID. So there's going to be a lot of yearly startup, setting expectations, getting information that we might be missing, and introducing you to the people that work in the department so you can put a face to a name. You'll meet all the staff, you'll meet the dean, you'll meet the department chair, you'll meet all of us. And that evening, we will have a student faculty dinner banquet. There will be a keynote from industry who has a PhD, who has applied it out in the world, who will speak to you. There will also be topic sessions in the afternoon. We've already decided on those topics. Those will be released soon. On Saturday, we'll have topics presentations going on as well. The AGFs, faculty, some alumni, and current students will be presenting on those. And then you'll have an opportunity that night to do dinner on your own with your cohort members and just kind of build your community a little bit, get to know each other, share information. And then on Sunday is the Educational Research Exchange Conference. So we don't expect you, the new students, to be presenting at that. But going forward, each Sunday, there will be a student-focused conference where you can do some presentations that will count toward your portfolio. Next year, it will be aligned with another conference so that it is more official and counts toward your national, international presentations. And then we will conclude the conference and you will be done. This is shorter than it's been in the past. Once upon a time, this conference was closer to 6 days long, all day long, and did not include travel time. So this is definitely a little shorter. So next steps. We will have the full new student orientation July 20th to the 23rd from 6 to 9 p.m. There you're going to interact with your AGF and we will know who your major professor is at that time and your AGF, if not your full committee. You'll receive additional information about the dissertation and meet one or more current students from the program who can answer some of your questions. And that'll be where we're at. And that'll be about a month out from when you get started in your coursework. So I will try to answer any questions that you have at that time. Fall registration and required courses. So registration is currently open for fall 2023. Classes begin on the 21st. They're going to be 16 to 17 weeks in long semesters. So long semesters, fall or spring. A session is summer or wintermester or Maymester. Wintermester and Maymester are 3 weeks long. Going forward, we're probably just going to be offering tools courses mainly during those. And then during the summer will be mainly topics courses. In your first 3 years of coursework, you have to maintain what we call continuous enrollment. So fall and spring, 6 hours, summer, 6 hours. That'll be years 1 and 2. Year 3, continuous enrollment means being enrolled in 6 hours for fall and spring. But at that point, you should be done with coursework. So in the summer, if you've already defended your portfolio, you do not need to take courses the summer of year 3 because you've transitioned to dissertation. But starting in the fall, you must be continuously enrolled in at least 3 hours in the fall and the spring. And that takes place all the way until you're done with dissertation, however long that takes. For all of you in the distributed in particular, everyone must be taking LTEC 6000 and LTEC 6500 for the fall of 2023. Now I have to verify LTEC 6500 may still be listed as 6800, but I am going to talk to Lily today and find out what's going on. And then spring 2024, you will all be taking LTEC 6010 and 6510. Now, we had questions previously. I cannot answer questions right now. We are going to get the new degree plan models up on the site, hopefully in the next couple of days. So you can absolutely go ahead and look at those and kind of figure out what electives you might want to take. And hopefully that will be helpful and useful to you. But if you have any questions that I was not able to answer here, either write them down and save them till our July meeting, or feel free to email me at scott.warren@unt.edu. And that is Scott with 2 T's. But I appreciate your time, and I will get this merged with the other recording right away and hopefully get this out this afternoon. Hope you all have a great rest of your day and week.